So welcome to Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Women. I am Martina and I'm here with Christina.
Hello.
And we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering on this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually we're very quick to judge and compare ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody's losing. So depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. And those are the only two options. And neither of those options make us feel good. So here's our thought. Someone's everyday normal is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from first impressions. We invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There's inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we are willing to look. And today we're here with Eilish. Welcome, Eilish. Do you want to tell us who you are?
Sure. Hi, Martina. Hi, Christina. And hi, everyone. I'm Eilish O'Connor. I live in Dublin in Ireland, and I am a guidance counsellor in a further education college. And I'm really excited to be here, delving into the ordinary, the extraordinary, the surprising, the miraculous even. Yeah. So thank you for your invitation.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Eilish, I've known you, 4 years now, something like that, 4.5 years. We met at the beginning of COVID when we were in a program together, and it was quite challenging actually in the beginning because we had one person in Australia, we had one person in Germany, we had one person in Texas, and we had Eilish in Dublin. And we had to find a time to meet. And usually that was like either 7 a.m. for me, 6 a.m. for the person in Texas, or like 9 or 10 p.m. for the people in Europe, and then 7 a.m. for the person in Australia. And what a journey. Right? Eilish, I've seen you, like you've always been solid and grounded and so powerful, but I've seen you just kind of come out of your shell and put your foot down and like your sweetness is still there, but there's a fierceness to it now, which is just so beautiful, so beautiful to see and to be part of. It's not the right sentence, but you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to have you here. Now, if you could finish this sentence for me, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
If you really knew me, I think you captured some of it. I appear maybe quieter or gentler or maybe almost timid. But if you really knew me, or if you took the time to know me, I can be a force of nature around things. I stick at things. I push through things. I have an incredible strength, and I'm highly creative. I'm highly intuitive. And what's very fascinating, and I loved what you were saying at the start around, the ordinariness of life, that as I've got older, it's got easier to create life, to have life go a certain way. And if you really knew me, you'd know that I'm deeply passionate about people. I've worked as a teacher, a guidance counsellor for young people in a further education college for the past 32 years. And that has been my life's work. It has been my great work. It has been something that has sustained me. So I've been very lucky, that I fell into a career that allowed me to be the full expression of who I am. And I love fostering and, creating or being a space for other people to grow and develop and become, to become who they were meant to become, because that's what life is. Life is that we become who we were meant to be. We're so different. We're so unique. And I love, just before we came on, we were just chatting a little bit back and forth, and I loved especially Christina, what you shared is witnessing people, you know, seeing the uniqueness of every human being. And at the beginning there, Martina, when you gave me that wonderful acknowledgement, or, our journey together, the witnessing of me, it was so beautiful when you said that. So it's so wonderful when we totally get who we are for each other and who we are, and we reflect it back. And that's what we are. We as human beings are mirrors. We mirror each other, our beauty, our creativity, our love. And when it's like the sun shining. When you give your energy to somebody else, it's like a flower. People just blossom. So yeah. So
I actually,
that's who I am.
that's beautiful. Like there's two things that, when I was telling Christina who you are, right? Because she had not met you. It's like there's this very pixie energy around you that I really, really love. Like I can totally relate because that's part of my, I'm going to call it ancestry or whatever you want to call it, right? But the word that came as you were talking was an earth angel. Thank you for
Ah,
that.
thank you.
Thank you for all the kids you take care of and all the people you're available to. You're an
Mm,
earth angel to them.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what a true gift, Eilish, to choose a career that's so fit your mission on this planet, right? And to get it at such a to get what your purpose is, and to like the magic and the gift that you're giving to each of those people you get to help mold into their best version of themselves while they're in your your school. It's like,
Mm,
it's just, yeah, I get chills just thinking about it. Because there's plenty of people who do those jobs and don't get the gift that it is. It's just a
yeah.
job. But when you have that, when you're in that position and you truly get the magic that you are sprinkling around, right? Like, it's so much better. It's just, it's delicious. So I'm going to
Thank
move into our icebreaker question, Eilish. Tell us a funny or silly or embarrassing story about yourself.
you. Think. Oh, let's see now. Embarrassing story about myself. You know what? I haven't really done anything totally embarrassing in recent times. Let's think of a good one.
It doesn't have to be in recent times either.
No,
You
yeah. Did you it keeps coming into my head. It could be, oh, I don't know, it could be 10 or 15 years ago. And I don't know why I did it. I was involved with a group of people in my hometown. I originally came from the southwest of Ireland, and we did fancy dress. We were in some kind of a parade, I'm not sure. And I dressed up as a clown. I put on a big wig and, this big gown or whatever. And I remember the freedom of doing that. And I wouldn't be the kind of person that would do that normally. And what I remember about that was it was a bit embarrassing. I was a bit self-conscious about it. And yet at the same time, it was like, oh my God, taking on a persona of a clown. And what's fascinating about this, I was on this other course recently, or, there was a course I was doing. And one of the girls, that's her job. She's a professional clown. And I
know?
remember thinking, isn't that so cool? You just go out there and make a fool of yourself and have people laugh with you, and, being able to, be so original that you do these things automatically. I think I've been quite, kind of subdued when it comes to stuff like that. And yet, yeah, yet
Well,
funny
it's
things
interesting
happen.
because that's her expression, right? And
Yeah,
it's not yours. And
yeah,
and and how cool that you find your expression and not hers, right?
yeah,
It's yours.
yeah. And it's really funny. You know the whole thing about being willing to be just silly. And I suppose where I can just be silly is when I was teaching, I used to be, I don't teach anymore because I do more, mostly guidance counseling. But when I was a teacher, I used to do silly things, to tell them, you know, jokes and just be kind of like that. And I do remember it was always fun. It's always fun. Yeah, just to have people laugh. I think laughter is a great thing. I just love to laugh with people. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Mm.
So, Eilish, tell us about the time you took a chance for love. And it doesn't have to be necessarily romantic love. It might be love to a parent, a friend, yourself.
Let me taking a chance for love. Yeah, it was the thing I actually chanced years ago was I lived in France many years ago, and one of my closest friends, French friends, was getting married, and I went there and I met the cousin of the groom, and I hadn't met him before, and I remember my friends wanted me to go and do something else. And I didn't really know this guy very well, but there was something in his energy, or there was something that I felt was important. So, I risked not going because I'm always wanting to do what everybody, my hosts, want me to do. And we had this magical, weekend. And I still remember it as being, it was risky because it could have been a disaster. I could have upset my friends to do it. But I still remember it as being this thing about, yeah, following my instinct, and it was the right thing to do. Yeah. um yeah, so I think that's the only thing that has come into it. And I suppose the most recent risk is that I was, and this is to do with a different kind of love. It's the love of community. I had gardeners in because we have a communal garden at the back of my house, and I was very nervous about doing it because it's hard to get the right people or whatever. But I risked it anyway, and I wasn't sure. I didn't really know the company, and it turned out it went quite well. But do you know why it was so fabulous? My older next door neighbor, he's 75, but he was so inspired that he hired them. And now what I have is I have this magical, all our gardens are kind of, it's on a canal, so they're all linked up together. So his place is great, my place is great, the next door neighbors is great. And all the neighbors are so excited that my older neighbor John and I got this gardener in. So there was almost like this, oh my gosh, your gardens look beautiful. This is great. And the communal garden throughout COVID, that's where we used to meet. So I risked working with a company I didn't know. It was more, I spent more on it than I ever thought possible. But I knew I did it for the community. I did it because we share that space, and I was willing to risk it because, the summertime has come and it's space for us to meet. And the fact that John next door cleared out his house, cleared out his garden, and he's so happy. He is just ecstatic because, he has been living on his own for 5 years when his cousin died, and the house was overpacked. The garden was overgrown. He had no garden because the place was so overgrown. But then he said to me this morning, because your job looks so great, your garden looks so great, I decided to hire those guys and do the same. That's magical. So the risk of taking on somebody or paying a lot of money to do something has had such a great outcome.
So beautiful. I mean, you give joy to the whole community, but that you inspired hope in someone who
Yeah,
wasn't there, right?
yeah,
And so, like, those outcomes that you don't even anticipate happening, right? Like, you think you're just going to have this
yeah,
garden for the community, and then
yeah.
your next door neighbor cleans his whole house out and is inspired for life again. Like, those are just, yeah.
Yes, and it wasn't. It was so unexpected because what he said was, he didn't know because he's been cut off for a while. He's been living on his own for so long. He doesn't know how to find a company. He doesn't know how to do that. But because of our relatedness, he said, "Oh, since you hired this company, they must be good." And that's how it happened. But I had a trust in it as well and encouraged him. And it's so great to see that knock-on effect, a ripple.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it may open up a whole new possibility for him too, right? Like, or a new relationship for the two of you. Maybe you can knock on his door and ask him if he needs help. He may be more open to say yes when you come over because of this experience that he's had now. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yes,
really magical stuff.
because he risked taking this on and spending money and
Yes.
doing all that. So he risked something. So that's what I love this thing about risking something for love. And then when you share that with other people, they can risk something that they
Yes.
love or that they want as well. And this is, we inspire each other.
Yeah.
It's about you opening up the space for that, right? And the other thing that I think is beautiful about it is you don't know. Like, we take these actions in life and we have no idea what the result is going to be, right? It's just like the ripple effect. Like, you didn't do it for anyone. You did it for yourself, right? But
Yeah,
the effect it had, right, is so much bigger than just ourselves. But we get inspired to do something, and if we follow it, usually there is a ripple effect. We just don't,
yeah,
you know, we never take that into consideration, right? That's
yeah,
magic. It really
yeah,
is magic. It's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So Eilish, what would you say your superpower is?
My superpower is my my boss, my principal in my college said this recently, is developing relationships. I'm really, really good at just being related to people. So my superpower is um creating a space for people to be themselves.
I was going to say, just seeing the best in them. Like,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
really, really,
Yeah,
and acknowledge, like, and speaking it. That's the other,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not just holding the space, it's seeing it, but it's also speaking it, which is
Mm,
beautiful.
mm, mm, mhm. Yeah,
We definitely need lots of that in this world, always, always.
yeah. 100%, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
So the next one is several questions, and it might just be one thing that answers all of them, or you just answer one question, whatever it is for you, okay?
yeah.
What
Sure.
made you who you are today? Or what was your biggest lesson? Or what took most courage? Or when did you stand up for something that mattered to you?
Yeah. Okay. What would be I think I've always had courage to go for what I wanted. Um, I went all those years ago when I went to study in France. That was a huge risk, and I knew it was right for me. I didn't want to. I was scared to go. Um, when did I stand up for somebody, and where did I show courage?
Something, or just for
Yeah,
something that matters to you.
yeah. You know what actually mattered? It's something I've been dealing with in my work. There was one of my students. I've older students as well. One of my students was going through a really bad time, and will I share that? Maybe not. Um, yeah. What I can say about it is that persisting. Uh, she didn't want to say what was going on, and it was an issue she was having at home, and I just didn't give up on her, didn't give up on her, and kept on standing for her greatness. And what actually happened is she started seeing it for herself. It was things weren't great at home. There was a lot of disempowering conversations, and she was put down a lot at home. I just kept on saying, listen, you're great, you're just amazing. And what's actually happened in the last year, she has just blossomed into a much more confident person, And it just took something to, have her, do certain things. Some of her family members were totally against it. I think I ended up upsetting some of them, but I just felt that this was right. This girl needs to live her full life. And then because I stood for her and I pushed for it, she started believing I am worth it as well, because she was very caught in her family dynamic. And, even going to college with us was a big deal. And, they were saying, who do you think you are doing this? And I just said, you need to do this, and you need to, build your life and be who you are meant to be. And she did. And she got her results there some weeks ago, and she performed amazingly well. And I can just see that, that it was worth it. It was worth some of the upset, and even, interfering a little bit. But then I just knew she really wanted to continue and to stop that voice of her family to say, you can't do these things. Yeah.
It's so beautiful because, for those of us who grew up in loving families, you just think everyone has that support system and wants the best for you. But there's so many people who don't grow up in families that are supportive or want their best or have their best interest at heart. And so I don't think it was an accident that she chose to be in the same school that you were at, right? Like clearly she was reaching for something more, and she reached for you, which is so beautiful. But that you're there to fill in for all those people that don't have that experience in their life, it's such a gift, and what a true superpower that is.
Wonderful. And the biggest thing as well is that the other thing I had to go beyond myself was, we did an exchange in France for 9 students in Menton in the south of France. And it wasn't happening because it was very complicated to make the thing happen. And even to keep pushing through to have it happen, and go through a lot. I even got into trouble with my principal about it, because she felt I was, doing far too much, right? I was doing things like, I even put, we had to book hotels for them, or sorry, not hotel, an Airbnb, and then there's finances, and I just knew this Airbnb was perfect for them. And I even put that on my credit card. Now, it did get started in the end, right? But it's this sense of going outside the box to make something happen. And what was so beautiful about that, those 9 students had the most amazing 2 weeks of their lives. They worked in, they were fashion and styling students, so they worked in these amazing, shops in Monaco and in Menton. So they got experiences they'd never. But I had to risk something. I had to risk, doing things and getting into trouble about certain things I did, and to keep going no matter what, because I knew, if I didn't do what I did, the trick may not have happened. But that was standing for a whole possibility of these young people having this amazing work experience of their lives.
It's your commitment to your students is just incredible. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
my joy. It's just that
I understand, but I want you to hear this, right? Inside of the ordinary, extraordinary. It is extraordinary. For you, it's just what needs to be done. Right? It's just who you are and what needs to be done, but it is quite exquisite and extraordinary. For them to be on the receiving end. I was watching, what is it, the Last Ride with the kids, like the Nicholas Sparks novel, where like there's this sub story about, she's a teacher and she has a student who, like grows up in a trailer park with his brother and is not treated well. And she keeps telling him how extraordinary he is and how good. And he proceeds to become a professor at the university. And when she dies and when he dies, his wife brings a painting to her husband, and at the back it says, "For this is this person. She always stood for me and told me how great I am." That's what I see, right? It's like that difference, and you don't even know that you're making that difference, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it for that, right? That's not what your aim is. Your aim is just to love them and take care of them. But it's just exquisite and extraordinary. And I understand for you, it's just what you do, and it's normal.
Exactly. And what's very important to see is that, when we are out to create miracles, and if we want to create good things for other people, there's very ordinary things that have to happen. It's kind of challenging, things go wrong. Uh, I messed up so many times during that project, getting it wrong, and saying the wrong thing, or making a wrong call on something. But what I always see is that even in the ordinary things, extraordinary comes out of failing. And you know and what I have found, and it's a gift that it's something I always try to give to my students: never give up on something. It looks like a failure today, but it might not look like a failure tomorrow, because the vision of an end result is important. And it's not that it's always going to go perfectly. It's not. It's like sometimes the end result is so magical, but it has taken a lot of steps for that to happen, and that persistence, and that, coming home sometimes. I used to come home and say, "Oh no, I've messed up. This is too much. I've taken on too much, or maybe this is the wrong thing." But I just kind of, "Oh no, this is right, and this is what I want to keep doing."
Yeah, so good. It's just something that I heard in there, that it's been one of the things I've been working with in my own head lately is doing the best I can today and not
Yeah,
comparing it. Because it may not be the best massage I've ever given, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be the best today. Because honestly, if they're on my table today, they probably need energy work if I'm burnt out today, right? Like they're coming for what I have to give that day, whatever my best is that day. And I've been working with a young client at work he's a nurse in a children's psychiatric ward. He's in his early 30s and was diagnosed with cancer last year. And is still in school, still working and going through all his treatments at the same time. So a lot going on, a lot of energy work. And he's been really struggling with it. He's not doing his best. And I had this conversation with him, and it was just this light bulb that, like, oh, just the best I have today.
yes,
I can always do
yes.
that. And it just gave him this freedom that was just so inspiring to watch. He's now been given his all clear in 9 months. He's got his clear bill of health and is still in school and with his end in sight, and is now working with crystals at home and meditating. So he really took this little blip in his path as an opportunity to take care of himself better, to learn how to take care of himself better, so he could share with other people. His girlfriend, who he lives with, is now meditating, and they took a room in their home to make it their little sanctuary for crystals and their self-care. So this concept of doing the best you can that day is really rippling, and it's a fun one. So
I actually want to extend it. I think
yeah.
Don Miguel Ruiz says, right? It's like, just do your best. And it's not even maybe today, it's just right now. Because sometimes we cannot go beyond today. Today might be too big, but right now, my best today, right now, might just be sitting in a chair.
Or
Yeah,
getting dressed.
yeah,
And then maybe my best in half an hour is going for a run, but maybe not, right? But it's just like, part of what I also hear inside of that is there's no judgment, right? It's just like right now I do my best. and whatever that best is, right? Might look different for everyone. There's no comparing. It's just right now. So
this is it. And it was so wonderful, Christina, you shared that. And I kind of add on another thing. Today, this is good enough. I am good enough today. This is fine,
Yeah.
and yeah, today is what's needed. Today, who I am today is it's what needed. And I just love that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah. It just seemed like it was all the same kind
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Mm.
And having more lenses to see it through, right? Like when we're only seeing life from one lens, we have limited, but the more lenses you can see it through, the more choices you have in the matter, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So Eilish, you give back a lot to your community. What fills you up? What recharges your batteries so you have to keep giving?
Yeah. Right now, what's really giving me a lot is being in nature and walking. And that's why the garden has become important and to share that with other people. The other thing is I like, socializing with people. I have very good friends. And actually, after we finish today, I'm going to go to my friend's house and he is he's son and himself, he's foster son. So we're going to it's a kind of a gay march or a kind of a celebration of the summer solstice, and it's people from the gay community in Dublin. So this great friend rang me and he said, will you come and be with John? That he's foster son and cheer us on. So I love that. I have very different kinds of friends, and they're so different and unique, and they fill me up. They give me a lot of access to different kind of energy. I love music. Who fills me up when I listen? I love the music of Elvis Presley. He's one of my favorite of all time. I just really, whenever I'm tired, I just put that on. I love Roy Orbison. I love listening to music. And recently, what I've got really into is Qigong training. And there's Qigong dance, Qigong training, and I just find that energy really does. And the other thing that fills me up is all the interesting coffee shops here in Dublin, and I love discovering a new coffee shop because I get to know the people in the coffee shop. I get to speak to some of the customers, and I just love just going into town in the center of Dublin and chilling out and just taking in the energy and just being in this, and being by the sea where I live very near, the Irish Sea, and just taking in the beauty of nature. Yeah.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Really lovely.
I'm like, I want to come see you.
Yeah, you have to, Martina, next time. And
See,
Christina, of
Tina's
course,
on board.
Whenever that is, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Eilish, who or what do you want to be when you grow up? Like if you could
Oh,
be anything or anyone, if you could do anything, what would it be and why? So if there would be no limitations, no restrictions.
yeah. You know what's actually happening because I'm in, a major transition part of my life right now. So who I want to be is I want to be, and it's part of my Celtic nature to really be, how do I put it, feminine power and working from my energy, working from my intuition. I'm about to start training as a meditation teacher. So I want to spend the rest of my life, um, because I'm now 58, right? I want to spend the rest of my life, in a spiritual kind of development. And what I mean by spirituality, it's not, it's to do with, it could be pagan, it could be, to start using my intuition. I'm very interested in looking at Celtic mythology and, you know, yeah, working in a center, maybe in the west of Ireland, and being part of a retreat or being part of a community of people that we bring people in and we lead programs, you know, and, you know, to do things creative together. So, because I've lived a very structured life because I've worked in education and training for so long, but I just want to live life flow. So when I grow up, I'm just going to be this, you know, source of how to put it, feminine power, of magic, of miracles, and trying out new things and creating beauty and peace around me. And being in a community of people, it's even happening with my neighbors, being in a community of people where we all have that and we get to express our unique talents, whether it's music, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing. Storytelling is very strong in my culture, poetry, creativity. Yeah, living a
You
life.
paint too, right? You paint
Huh?
too.
Oh no, I'm not a painter. No, but maybe I might try that out, Martina. Who knows? But
I
yeah,
thought you did that at one point, didn't you? Or was it
no,
just
yeah,
like just creating?
creating. I have a great appreciation of art. I have a lot of nice pictures in my house. I think I want to be a hippie. I want to become a hippie when I grow up. That, you know, carefree and I don't care as I get older. People say, "Oh, she's a bit eccentric. She's a bit different." Or she's just living life and she has a certain style that's all her own and just being totally different and totally me. Um, and yeah, a hippie type person. And even if people think I'm mad, that's okay too.
So you're not the first person who has said something about wanting to be a hippie, and I think the more I hear it, the more I'm like, I don't think I've ever put it in those words, but I think that's exactly what I want too, right? That carefree. It's funny though.
Carefree,
Our working title we worked with when we were playing with what we were doing was "Free to Be Me,"
yeah,
and that's ultimately what this is all about, right? The space to for everyone to be free to be themselves, right? Like that's ultimately our goal. That
yes, 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 yes. And you know what? I've always been attracted to very different people, people that are not kind of you know, doing yeah, the same thing or whatever. So it's kind of, you know, allowing us just to be ourselves without having to conform or fit in or be the same or do the thing. Right? We're so conditioned to be a certain way. And me, I've been so conditioned, obviously being in education and training all the years I've been, I am very conditioned, but how to step beyond those boundaries and to be totally free and self-expressed, to be exactly, you know, that and not being afraid of being judged or, oh, they think you're mad or it's eccentric. You know, I love eccentric people because I just applaud their courage to be totally themselves, their creativity, their art, their you know, they're the artists of everyday life. They're the artists of the extraordinary, the artists of the ordinary, because they're just themselves. And it takes a courageous person. And I know in Ireland many years ago, a lot of people from Germany ended up in the west coast of Ireland because they found that peace to be themselves. And, you know, they set up little craft stores and you know, in Galway as well, it's the same. There's little places where you meet a lot of foreign people that have came to Ireland many years ago, even before we're now multicultural in the last number of years. But many years ago, they just came to West Cork or Galway or Donegal or, you know, the Wicklow, and they just lived as, you know, creating communities away from that craziness of the modern world or whatever. So Ireland has always attracted that kind of difference. So I want to be more expressed in that part of my culture. Yeah.
so
You know, it's like it's the wise, like the croon is what came, like
The
the
crew,
wise,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
the wise woman. And there is, you know, I don't know, she keeps coming up for me. It's like there is this woman in Zurich, and she dresses in the most vibrant colors and
Yeah.
colors that we usually wouldn't put together, right?
Yeah.
I imagine she's in her 70s or 80s, and everybody knows who she is, and she just is. right? There's really nothing, no other way to say it. She just is. She has this bright colored, like yellow and purple, and then she's wearing a hat, and she has this bright makeup, and it's just incredibly beautiful and powerful and exciting, and I don't know which other word. So that's the image that came, right? It's like loud and proud and solid.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, love it too. So last question, Eilish, what do you want people to remember about you?
Yeah, I want people to remember that I always had courage, that I wasn't perfect, but I always came from having a loving heart about things, and that I just never gave up on life. I never gave up on people, and that I did my best, and it was enough. That's it. Yeah, I did my best, and yeah, life was great. Yeah, it was great.
Beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Eilish, thank you so much for being here today, for sharing yourself, your vulnerability, and your passion for communities. It's just really outstanding what you provide for your communities. So thank you. I, as usual, have fallen in love with yet another person who I can't wait to come and visit. So just another place that I am excited to go and visit again, because I've been to Ireland, but it's way too long since I've been there. So thank you so much. And happy solstice and all the good celebrations that come with this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for being here and listening. If you loved what you heard today, please leave us a message or a review, share with your friends, and please always remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Wonderful day. Eilish, you want to say bye?
Yes, but bye everybody, and Martina and Christina, thank you for having me. It was a joy. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye. Yeah.